Welcome back to another episode of 0 to 60, and on today's episode I want to talk to you guys about an issue that I've just found on this lovely vehicle that's much worse than I was expecting, and it's to do with the wiring in the battery compartment. But before I show you the horrors that are, I just thought I'd give you a quick update on what's happening with the car. So I'm still waiting on the the water pump to turn up for this lovely thing, the one that's died. It should be here any minute. I have also had a good tidy up in here, cleaned the floors like 3 or 4 times, and we've got the E92 engine up on the engine stand, so hopefully in the next few days we will actually get the head off this, hopefully, and start delving into that. Of course, I'm still messing around with this car and the other E92, trying to sort out that problem, so the engine might get put to the side. But for today's episode, I need to show you what I found in my boot compartment. Now, if you've been following me for a while, you'll know that when I did the turbos on this and disconnected the battery, it was July, so a few months ago now, I actually noticed that there was water buildup in the battery compartment. Now, apparently that's not uncommon, especially if you've recently fitted aftermarket lights. So after I did the turbos, I actually cleaned all that water out, checked the seal on the lights, make sure that was definitely sealing properly, and thought, sweet, we're all fixed. And of course, you don't go into your battery compartment very often, and I hadn't even checked it again, which is probably a bit silly, but it is my fault. I hadn't even checked it again until I went to disconnect the battery to pull the engine last week, and lo and behold, it was full of water again. Again, it's one of those sort of annoying problems, so I didn't even do anything about it until yesterday, actually. And I actually pulled it out yesterday, got all the water out, and started cleaning it again to try and work out what's going on with this leak. However, I actually noticed that one of the battery cables were loose. So let me show you guys what's going on. So this is the trouble area. Now I hope you can see it all right, but yeah, basically I could just see, you can see the water line that's still sort of there even though I've been cleaning it. So the water was getting up to about here. Now I assume it's coming in through these aftermarket taillights, although I have tried to reseal them. I'm gonna have to do some more delving. For the meantime, I have made a temporary hole, and by temporary I mean permanent hole there, to get the water out because it's pretty shit that it builds up. Now I did that as a result of noticing what was going on. So I got the battery out, which is normal, and then I was cleaning all this. I wanted to remove as much of the rusty water as I can. When I pulled on this wire and noticed that it was actually quite loose, and I'm like, oh shit, it's probably actually corroding through. And it turns out, and I did put it somewhere, so this here, hopefully you can see that there is all that's left of the nut that used to hold that wire on. Now, it's a bit deformed because I had to use a pair of pliers to break it off. But yeah, the entire nut has just sort of turned into a couple of threads that are all rusty. And the actual terminals down in there are also pretty horrific. Hopefully you can see that all right. But yeah, so we've got huge corrosion problems. So yeah, that's not good. And I was actually doing some Googling about ways to fix this, and basically I've just got to change the wiring. Luckily I have got the wiring out of the E90, so I'm going to have a bit of a clean up, see how clean we can get it, and work out whether I need to replace the wire, if I can just put a terminal on the end. But whilst I was doing that Googling, I did actually find out that corrosion can cause errors with a water pump. Well, that's what somebody was experiencing anyway, so I thought it's something that I hadn't really thought about. And even though there was water in there, and again, we just don't get corrosion where we live, I wouldn't have expected that stuff to have been corroded. But maybe it's an issue with some sort of electrolysis process that goes on, because it is such a high current battery terminal there. I really don't know, but I was really shocked to see that much rust and corrosion down in a Queensland car. Not ideal. Anyway, I'm going to get to cleaning it up, and we'll see if it makes a difference and maybe fixes the water pump issue, because that would be a nice little win. All right, I need to work out the best way to clean it. Let me see if I can grab something to get all this rust and scale off. So obviously I used a bit of pliers and got that one off yesterday, so that wire's done. However, the main positive lead, now this one's actually still tight, so it hasn't got to the point where the rust is causing a bad connection. Well, maybe it is. Now I did have a bit of a crack at it yesterday. Now they are a 13mm, I hope the light works here, they are a 13mm nut. Unfortunately, a 13mm, it's too rusted. I can't get a 12 on, so I'm going to try and see if we can crack it with a 1/2 inch. That one feels better than, that one feels a lot better than the 13. However, it just spins. Now I did, when I cleaned all this out yesterday, I've actually coated that in WD and penetrant in the hope that it might free it up a bit. But no joy. Let's see if we can do it with a pair of needle nose pliers. But what'll probably happen is I'll just pinch my hand. Ooh, okay, it felt like the nut started to come apart again. Yep, the nut is just disintegrating. Alright, give me a minute, I'll see what I can work out. Well, after struggling for far too long than I'd like to admit, I cannot get that nut off. It's crumbling away a bit, but it's still super tight on the wiring, so I'm going to try and actually take the fitting out of the I don't want to call it a firewall, but out of the guard itself, and hopefully we can get it off that way. So, need to take the wheel off and go from there. Okay, well, I ended up having a moment of clarity. I actually went out of break, so this is about an hour since you last saw me. But what I did was I cut the top of the plastic thing off, which I was trying to avoid doing, but I mean, they have these holes in them anyway. But I'll work out something, a way to cover it up somehow. Anyway, I cut that off, and then I was able to get vice grips on the nut, and there's the sucker. So that is the half-rotten nut that I couldn't get off, is finally off, and you can see I was scraping it with pliers so many times, most of the rust is actually cleaned off. But yeah, a little bastard of a thing. And this is what was underneath it, so that is actually corroding as well. I think I'm just gonna go and get the battery lines off of the E90 parts car. I mean, I could re-terminate these, but you don't know how much is sort of soaked up into the battery cable. And while I've got a good set there, I may as well use them. I have also got some contact cleaner onto it, and I've just been cleaning with a stainless steel brush, and most of the rust is actually gone, and these must be stainless, I assume. They're actually, both of the terminals are not rusty at all, which is excellent news. So I'll keep cleaning this, I'll go and get those ones, and hopefully you'll see me in a minute putting the new ones on. All right, well, time for an update. Now, I am very dirty. It seems working on old cars, most of the time I spend cleaning things, but we've got this area looking a hell of a lot better. Now, yeah, I've basically just washed it out with water, washed it out with contact cleaner, degreaser, and then it's actually had a fresh coating of, it's a scented contact cleaner, and it does leave a little bit of a residue on there, but hopefully she's all good. But let's have a closer look at these fittings now. We got them in there. That has been much more work. I literally thought it was going to be like 10-20 minute video, we good to go, but no, I had to spend 3 hours cleaning it. So the positive cable from the parts car, it actually, the part I needed, this section, is damaged because that car had been in an accident. The explosive charge has gone off, so I've had to reuse the original cable for the main one, but that one wasn't as badly corroded as the smaller cable. I've used the new nut, and everything's all pretty good. I've basically just cleaned any of the surface rust off of this fitting, and I'm sure she's going to do fine. So from this point, I can put these caps back on. Now you can see where I've taken the plastic off. Okay, this cap's probably not going to go back on because I cut so much of it off. Yeah, no dice on that one. This one can go back on. Might have to do something with some electrical tape just to stop anything going down there and shorting out. Not that it should, because it really shouldn't, but I might just put something over that just to cover up that one terminal. But we'll put that back in. Now, I did also spend some time cleaning the battery. I'll put up a picture of it, but we have the battery there. All of the rusty stains has gone from that. That battery's only about a year old, so hopefully we get a lot more love out of it. But it was sitting in water, and they should be sealed, so that should be fine. So I get the battery back in, reconnect it all, and see how we go. Now, I'm actually thinking that this could be why the alternator was getting hot the other day when I started it, and I wonder if it is causing any issues with the water pump. So anyway, we'll get the battery back in, and we'll give it a bit of a test. All right, so the battery's back in. Let's power the car up, see if we've got any strange errors. Nothing scary. In fact, nothing at all. I'm gonna do the coolant bleed procedure and just see if the pump fires up. The pump fired straight up. Holy shit. You can hear it whizzing away. It's stopped, now it should start again. Started again. So, I'm not going to conclude that yet, because in my messing around this afternoon, the pump has turned up, the new pump. But when I was researching this last night, somebody was having an issue with their coolant pump, throwing error codes, and they traced it down to those connections in the boot. So I'd love some feedback from you guys. Do you think that my God, the new pump was $600. Oh, it'd be hilarious if I don't need the new pump. So yeah, let me know your thoughts. Could those terminals in the back cause a problem? Now, to my understanding, anything electrical where you're increasing resistance is a huge no-no. You do not want to have dirty terminals, anything putting extra resistance on the line, especially in a car that's got so many sensors and is as complicated as this bloody thing. Listen to the pump. It is cranking. Jesus. I wonder what other problems have been caused by that. So yeah, please let this be a warning. Make sure you've checked those terminals on your car. If you've got an E90, E92, E93, from what I can tell, they are all prone to getting issues where water will build up in there, and yeah, it just super corrodes those wires. I'm going to keep testing this and see if I get any times where the pump doesn't work. But if not, if it keeps working, I'm not going to change a pump. Damn. All right, guys. I'm confused. I hope this wasn't too hollow of a video. It was supposed to be a 20-minute, 30-minute recording session, and it's been 5 hours. Anyway, I can hear the pump. The pump is cranking. Might start the car up. Let's start the car up. Everything's still fine from the other day after we started it. I just want to make sure we don't have any errors. The front bar's still not on, so that's normal. We have no errors. Okay, we'll do one more pump bleed test. So ignition on, accelerator pedal down for 10 seconds. Yep, just heard the pump wind on. Yep. Bizarre. Very concerning. All right, that's turned off. It's off, but it does turn off. She's winding up again. All right, I end this video off here. I'll get this edited pretty shortly, and it will go up tonight. Yeah, let me know your thoughts. If you've gone through any issues with the terminals in the back of your battery box, what weird problems it caused. If that's what's causing my water pump problem, I'll be pretty stoked. I've got a spare water pump. And something interesting about the water pump that did come, it's a new one from a German company with a metal housing, which I wasn't expecting. I was expecting another Continental one. It's bleeding. If it acted like this when we tried to start the car for the first time the other day, we never would have even thought about it. Jesus. All right, this is a long outro. Sorry, guys. Look, again, make sure you check those connections on your car. Thank you very much for watching. Any input, I'd love to know it below. We will catch you on the next one. Team N54, it's going mad. We've got some updates on that thing. Some good updates. All right, guys, we'll catch you tomorrow. So I finished filming the main video, but this is the wire that was really badly corroded. This is the original one. It plugs in just here. That's what we were dealing with, what was doing the current. The second I unplug that, the fuel pump stops. Plug it back in, fuel pump fires up again. That's all the fuel pump problem was. That corroded wire. Holy crap. We learn as we go.